2. The Ties That Grow. The first light of dawn crept over Willow Ridge, painting the rolling fields in gentle shades of golden amber. Miriam Lapp stepped outside, the crisp autumn air brushing her cheeks, carrying the scent of earth and dew-laden grass. She paused on the porch for a moment, gazing at the orchard saplings she and Aaron had planted the day before. Tiny buds glimmered with morning moisture, their fragile green shoots promising growth in the months ahead. Miriam inhaled deeply, letting the quiet of the morning settle around her. Willow Ridge had become more than a place to live, it was a place of rhythm and connection. Each day carried new lessons, small joys, and a sense of belonging that she had never known before. She thought of the Yoders, now settled into their home, and of Aaron, whose kindness and steadiness seemed to anchor the community in gentle ways. After a simple breakfast of fresh bread and apple butter, Miriam set about her morning chores. She carried a bucket to the chicken coop, filling it with feed and scattering it among the hens. The soft clucking filled the air, mingling with the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a morning bird. One of the hens nudged against her hand, pecking at a stray kernel. She smiled at the small creature's curiosity and carefully collected the eggs, noting the subtle differences in size and color. Next came tending the vegetable garden. Miriam knelt among the rows of greens, pulling small weeds and checking each plant for pests or signs of disease. The soil was cool beneath her hands, and the scent of fresh earth mingled with herbs like rosemary and thyme that she had planted along the edges. She paused to observe a ladybug crawling across a cabbage leaf, thinking about how such small creatures could bring unexpected delight. Once her chores were complete, Miriam walked along the winding lane that led to the Yoder homestead. The path passed fields of golden wheat, now ready for harvest, and a small creek that sparkled in the morning sunlight. She could hear the distant laughter of children from nearby farms, their voices mingling with the soft rustle of the wind through the trees. On the way, she offered a cheerful greeting to a neighbor repairing a fence and paused to admire a patch of wildflowers, their colors bright against the green landscape. At the Yoders' home, she found Hannah tending to the garden, carefully examining the tomato plants and arranging supports for the growing vines. Eli was busy gathering smooth stones along the garden path, arranging them in patterns only he understood. Samuel was nearby, working on a small repair to the barn's side door. "Good morning, Hannah," Miriam called. "The garden looks wonderful today." Hannah looked up and smiled warmly. "Thank you, Miriam. It's been quite a few days of learning, but I think we're making progress." Eli ran up to Miriam, holding a particularly smooth stone. "Look, I found this one by the creek," he exclaimed. Miriam knelt to examine it. "That's a fine stone, Eli. Do you think it would make a good decoration for the garden?" Eli nodded eagerly, placing it carefully among the flowers. "Yes, it will make it pretty." Hannah laughed softly. "He's already more helpful than he realizes." Miriam spent the next hour assisting with the garden. She showed Hannah how to water the plants so that the roots would soak up just the right amount, and together they tied young vines to their supports. She admired Hannah's care and patience, noting how much joy the family took in their new home. The Yoders' quiet diligence mirrored her own family's approach to life: steady work, respect for nature, and careful attention to detail. By late morning, Miriam set out to help Aaron with the orchard fence. He was already at work, measuring and replacing worn boards with precise movements. "Good morning, Miriam," he called, raising a hand. "I was just about to start on this section. Care to join me?" "I'd love to," she said, setting down her basket. They worked side by side, lifting posts, hammering nails, and chatting in light tones. Aaron's steady presence made the work feel easier, and Miriam found comfort in the shared labor. Occasionally, a gust of wind rustled the leaves of the young apple trees, carrying the faint, sweet scent of the orchard through the air. "You have a way of making hard work enjoyable," Miriam said softly as she patted the soil around a newly planted sapling. Aaron glanced at her, a smile tugging at his lips. "It's easier when you have good company. Besides, these trees will grow stronger for the care we give them now." Miriam felt a warmth in her chest at his words, though she turned quickly to the task at hand. Their friendship had grown naturally over shared days like this, built on trust, cooperation, and the quiet understanding that comes from working together. In the afternoon, the Yoders invited Miriam to help with a small household task. Hannah had gathered herbs for drying and wanted to organize them in baskets for storage. Miriam joined her, carefully washing and arranging the herbs by type. Your guidance has been invaluable, Hannah said, smiling. I don't know how we would have managed without you. Miriam shook her head gently. You're doing wonderfully. It's been a pleasure to help, and I've learned a few things from your family as well. Eli wandered over, curious about their work. Miriam showed him how to tie small bundles of herbs for drying. See, Eli, she said, we tie them gently so they can dry without getting crushed. Eli tried it himself, his small fingers fumbling at first, then improving with her patient guidance. Like this? He asked proudly. Exactly like that, Miriam said, smiling. Well done. As they worked, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden light over the Yoder homestead. Miriam looked around at the family, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the connections forming in Willow Ridge. Evening approached, and Miriam returned home to help her parents with supper. The aroma of fresh bread, roasted vegetables, and simmering stew filled the kitchen. Her father hummed softly as he set the table, while her mother arranged the dishes. Miriam reflected on the day, the chores, the laughter, and the quiet conversations that had filled it. After supper, she stepped outside once more. The fields glimmered with the last light of day, and the first stars began to appear. She thought of Aaron, the Yoders, and her own family. Willow Ridge was a place of growth, both for the land and for the hearts of those who lived there. Miriam felt certain that this life, simple, steady, and filled with care, was exactly what she had been searching for. Friendships had strengthened, new bonds had formed, and a gentle love for the land, the community, and the people she cherished had taken root. She walked to the ridge overlooking the valley, the cool breeze lifting strands of hair from her face. As she gazed across the fields, she realized that tomorrow would bring new work, new friendships, and new joys. And for the first time in her life, Miriam felt truly at home.